Welcome to Tool Room Confessions, and today we are still sponsored by US Jacks.
We are.
Hey, what do you know? Look at that.
There's a lens cleaning cloth right there that says US Jack.
And we got some goodies from them, huh?
We do, and things look a little different up there, eh? And that's because we're trying to funnel our inner unbox therapy. We don't have a straight vertical rig, and it hurts my eyes to look up here because of the amount of lights overhead, but it's what we got to do. Ooh, sorry. I'm going to shake the camera. It's what we've got to do to get you a better shot of what's going on right here. So without further ado, let's get into this. I say let's get these products out of here. Now, US Jack very kindly sent us
you got to put some muscle into it. It's American made, so you have to be strong in order to open something.
And look, the boxes are just pre-opened for camera life, video editing life, so I wouldn't have to look like a sissy opening it. Apparently, I still did anyways. But you can see I haven't touched any of this. This is packed very, very well. You can tell right off the hop. I'm gonna pass this one to Mikey.
Ooh, that bad boy's heavy.
We're gonna try not to bump the camera too much, though.
Whoa, that is heavy.
I'm sure y'all are getting shaken a little bit, and we don't intend to. We're sorry.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, let's
open some iron, American iron.
Let's get this off of here.
Open that American iron.
All right. So,
you have a pocket knife, or
I do. So, something you may realize is that, hey JB, this is not 6-ton stands. And you'd be correct. They are not 6-ton stands.
They are American, though.
They are American made by US Jack. They are not American. They're not 6-ton stands. And we plan to do a direct comparison to 6-ton stands with the Harbor Freight stuff. But this is what US Jack could get to us because they've had such a big volley of people wanting American-made jack stands that 3 tons are all they had in stock to send to us. But we will have 3-ton units available to show you all pretty soon. So here's a 3-ton stand. Well, we've got a flying beetle in here. Here's the 3-ton stand.
Ooh.
You get a good look at it here. This is more of the angle iron, and see you've got this this round bore
that goes
around the outside of it.
Package.
Something that immediately catches my eye is just how wide this stand is compared to like the Harbor Freight units. And remember, this is only a 3-ton unit. I'm going to compare it to some 6 tons, and I think what we're going to find out is that the 3-ton units are actually just as wide at their base, if not wider, than a 6-ton unit. And something else you'll see here that I immediately notice right off the hop is look at how large. See the anvil here? I call this the anvil. I'm not sure what the exact name for this is. The iron, the steel, the anvil. The anvil right here, you see this? Look at how wide this is, and see how they've actually got this 90-degree ledge right here? This is very good for helping to make sure that if a vehicle's frame is sitting in here, I bet you this dimension, this width here, is on purpose. This is the width, the average width of a frame, most probably.
Well, the average width of an American frame. This ain't for no Honda.
Something else.
That's for a F-150 right there.
So something else I've noticed here, also, you see this handle?
I mean, you can use it for Honda if you'd like.
A standard jack has the handle that hangs out that I was able to beat with a jack handle, right? What people got so angry about. It would be very, very difficult to get this. Yeah, then look at that.
Yeah,
look, there's no weight on this right now.
Can't even do it.
You can't. Look at this. You can't release this like that. It appears to me
you have to lift it, actually physically lift it.
Wow, that mechanism. Yeah, look at this. So the mechanism for the US Jack, it moves in and out relative instead of up and down like it would on a normal stand. And from the tech description, there's not just one tooth on the pawl engaging the teeth on the anvil. There's a pair. So there's no such thing as this anvil rocking back and forth and disengaging. Look at how tight the anvil is. Let me get it up so we're not shaking it. Look at how tight the anvil is inside of the physical stand.
And you can't remove it either.
And it's fully tracked. Remember we talked about the idea of the cheaper stands having that silly tab that needs to be peened in is all for cost saving to make it easier to package. But you have to physically lift weight off, pull the handle back, and then the anvil can slide down. I can't even lift this. I can't even force this, can't force this handle out once it's engaged. Yeah, there's no weight on this. And if you were to sit there and very delicately pull back.
Yeah, you have to really finagle it and.
Yeah. There it is. Like, you've got to try hard, right? It takes a good bit to get this to back out. The welds on it. There we go. The welds on it are very nice. You can see here. The welds on it are very nice. The finish on the stand is powder coat. It looks very plasticky, the coating. Let's see.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh yeah, that's powder coating.
He did it.
That's powder coating. You scratch at it and it doesn't flake off. So these stands are beautiful. I can tell you right off the hop. No, y'all stick around for a minute. We're going to give you a direct comparison to the other jack stands. But we're going to put these right here and right oops, right here.
Glad they didn't fall on my lap. That would have been
We're
bad.
also sweating. It's South Louisiana. It's like 90 degrees outside in the middle of the night. It's very hot.
We're in a tool room. Tool rooms are not meant to be
They're not air conditioned.
nice and cushy.
So the next thing that's going to come out of here, I have, and if y'all haven't noticed how much,
You need the hammer.
well, you're shaking the table, Mikey.
I'm not touching it. You're shaking it.
If y'all haven't noticed, Mikey's got a weird fluffy thing in there, and Mikey, don't talk into the mic, Mikey.
How you doing?
Y'all notice that the audio on Mikey's end is much louder, and on our end, we have a proper Rode Wireless Go setup for getting audio.
Cool.
Some of the first money we made for MLG went directly into buying a wireless audio setup so that we could give y'all better audio so y'all could hear us better.
We do everything we do it for you.
All right.
Everything.
Now this is US Jack's bottle jack. Now you've seen all of the packaging I'm pulling out of here. There's a file in here. We'll get to that later. I stuck it in there for testing purposes later. But this son of a gun, wow,
She's heavy.
that's bad boy. This is easily the heaviest bottle jack I've ever picked up. For a 12 ton, something in this form factor. I was raised in the shipyard industry, okay? They're around a lot of bottle jacks. This is by
A lot of
far,
bottles too, if you know what I mean.
this was by far the heaviest bottle jack of this size. It's a very compact size for being 12 ton. By far the heaviest bottle jack I've ever picked up in this size. And you can tell immediately the reason why. If you look at this is all cast iron. And cast iron is heavy, but it's also it's very strong but flexible when it needs to be flexible. And it's an extremely robust material that even when it rusts, it doesn't rust in such a way that it eats a hole through something and it's garbage. A lot of bottle jacks that you'll see these days, and it's unfortunate I don't have one to compare this directly to, but a lot of the bottle jacks you see these days are all stamped steel, and they're pretty flimsy. This is an absolutely beautiful unit. And I just love, you can read right here, it says US Jack, Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Michigan. That's where all the automotive stuff should be made.
Yeah.
Oh, holy cow. So it says 12 ton here. Is that the weight of the jack?
Yeah, sure, that's 12 tons.
So what do we
I'm
have
not
there?
incorrect, am I? MI is Michigan, not...
MI is Michigan.
Yeah. Minnesota is MN.
Yeah.
Hey, look. I have one of them South Louisiana educations, you know?
Louisiana is the only country you know about.
Oh, so let's see if this can fool me real well. Ooh. Okay, it's got a peened over section in here.
Oh.
It's like a galvanized piece of steel. This should fit over this. That opens it. We're going to stick this in here and give her a few pumps for the first time. That is going to shake the camera. I am sorry. We're going to give this some pumps for the first time. Look at that. Don't need to go all the way out with this. Just want to look at the quality of the machining. Now I know this is going to be a little difficult for y'all to perceive on your end. Let me see if I can wipe some of that installation grease from when they put it together. It's got a very, very quality grind to the actual piston. The piston where the shaft comes out right here. It's got a very quality grind. And then when I pull out the adjustment screw here, it's just absolutely beautiful machining on this. You don't see this kind of clean cut edge. Like this has obviously been sandblasted or media blasted in some way, shape, or form to clean this up. The quality of the physical screw here is very beautiful. I see some hand finishing right here because there was a bit of a defect right here, or a casting overflash that someone worked by hand. I mean, just look at that. You can tell how smooth it is. Listen, we're going to get real quiet. Get your microphone close, Mikey. You hear how smooth? There's no grinding sound. This comes straight down. Even something as simple as that screw is built very, very well. It's
you know that old saying, you get what you pay for? It's hard to make something quality for a really cheap price. You know what I mean?
It's like hard to build something in America for very cheap. You know, because labor overseas is very, very cheap. And when people build things in America, they tend to want to build them very well. Yeah. So not only do you have more expensive labor, but you also end up with very expensive material cost.
And lots of handcrafting and more time that goes into it.
Correct. You don't have as many factories with robots or 1,000 humans getting paid 1 cent an hour or something like that. You know what I mean? So the building of these things is very expensive. So you're not going to have a bottle jack for $20. You're going to have a bottle jack for, $100-something. I don't remember exactly what it was in their catalog. Said US Jack sent these over for us to show to y'all. But everything I've seen here is very nice. And look, it is not just because, I don't want to hear this, not a shill thing. It's not just because US Jack sent us these parts. That is not these jacks and jack stands. It's not the reason why. These are very beautifully made parts. And the reason why we've got the camera up there and we're dealing with it shaking like it is so that y'all can get a better visual of what this looks like. Now, whenever Mikey edits the video, he'll be able to cut in and get closer to some of these things that we're trying to show you. But the quality is stupendous. The powder coating, probably one of the biggest things I noticed, like on the jack stands, the powder coating is superb. And I point that out because the coatings that they're using on the Harbor Freight stuff is absolute garbage. So if y'all give us just a second, well, let's see, let's move this over. We're going to set this down on the floor. Here was the instructions for the bottle jack. Read your instructions, people.
Like you did?
Yeah. I've used the bottle jack my entire life. I promise I'll read the instructions later. So US Jack sent us all over some lens cleaning cloths that say US Jack. We also have these right here, these product placement cards from US Jack as well, things that we would sit around. We'll stick one of those in here somewhere. They sent us some carbiners that say US Jack. But I think what's more important, US Jack's website, to be 100% frank with you, and you as well, Brad, if you're watching from US Jack, needs a little bit of improvement. It's not super user-friendly, but this catalog that they sent is absolutely fantastic. And the reason why it's so useful is that you can actually see every one of the products lined up, and it's a little click-happy on the website. But something that I didn't know prior to this video, and see if I can flip to it, they've got porta powers and all sorts of fun stuff. They make floor jacks, but I need you to stop for a second and look at these floor jacks. That is the most intense floor jack I have ever seen in my life. Like legitimately the most intense floor jack I've ever seen in my life.
It's epic.
And then you have a much more sane looking floor jack over here. I'm going to talk to Brad about it, but I'd really love to take a Harbor Freight normal style floor jack, like this style unit, Brad, if you're watching. We'd love to give the people a direct comparison from a Harbor Freight unit to an American-made unit like this. And I don't know what in the world we'd use this crazy setup for here, but
For the diesel Bronco?
we don't need a 20-ton jack for the diesel Bronco.
I mean, it depends. Are all four of us gonna be in it, or?
All right. So I'm gonna sit this right here for y'all, just so that's more easy to see. We're gonna pull this over. If y'all give us just a second, losing it all. Give us just a second. We're going to grab the Harbor Freight junk and we're gonna bring it over here, and I'm gonna give you an exact direct comparison as to why one is better than the other. Okay, so
That dongle dangles.
the dongle does dangle. Okay. So hear me out. Yes, I know this is a 3-ton stand and that's a 6-ton stand. But I'm telling you already, the comparison between these two is so unfair. The Harbor Freight jack stands need to be 6 tons to deal with what's going on over here. As soon as we have 6-ton units, we're going to give you a direct comparison to them. We're going to
Put it to the test.
Right, we're going to put it to the test compared to these units. Now, this is the recalled version that everyone knows about. These are the gray stands that were recalled. With the Anvil without shaking the camera too much here. What I want to do is let's rotate this around, Mikey. Try not to shake y'all too much. We're going to turn this way as well. All right.
So you popped in the pin that
I did.
nobody knows about.
I'm going to show that to y'all in a minute. So here is the recalled jack stand. Here is the replacement jack stand.
By the way, it completely destroyed the paint on there, too.
It did. Give me a second. The people can't see that. So
We're getting there.
So something I immediately want y'all to notice is that you see how level this handle is here? Now, whenever I push up on this handle, and I'm going to try to keep it from shaking the camera, but when I push up on this handle right here, the anvil should physically move up before it drops. And this jack stand is not as defective. Caveat, this jack stand is not as defective as the ones that I had on film, but it still shows the defect. So the handle is very level. Notice how far the handle protrudes out from the body as well. When I lift on this, the anvil should move up before it drops. And that's important because a jack stand is designed not to drop its load under weight. It should not do this. So if there's weight on this, you should physically have to use this tiny little lever to pick up thousands of pounds of weight on this anvil, so it shouldn't be able to drop its load. What you're going to notice is that I'm going to pick up on this, and the anvil, did y'all see something move? Let's let it hold still again. The anvil should lift, and it doesn't. The anvil doesn't lift. The anvil rocks away in this direction and then falls. In fact, I'm curious, we're going to do this on camera real quick. I've seen a lot of guys fail them solely by lifting them up. Yep, there it goes. Lifting them up and shaking them. And it shouldn't be able to do that as well. Now, that's not a realistic failure scenario, but it shows you that this handle is very level. Obviously, the pawl is not engaging into the teeth very well. And whenever you lift up on the handle, the anvil does not rise before it runs away. It just kind of rocks backwards. Okay. Next one, this is the replacement unit. One of the things you're going to notice immediately is look at the difference in these two teeth here. One has much shallower teeth than the other. So that's your first hint that they messed something up. The teeth were too shallow here. They're also very rounded. Now look what happens. You see this handle is at a much lower angle than this one. It points down more. When I pick up on this one, watch it how much, look, you see it? You see how much the anvil is moving? The anvil physically must move up before the release mechanism will let it go. And like I said, the reason why that's important is that you want this tiny little lever to have to be manipulating an enormous amount of weight on the anvil before it'll move. That's even more so important because there's a safety feature on these stands that, I replied to hundreds of comments about people saying, dude, guy, man,
Bobby Hill.
You hit Bobby Hill. You hit the release on the jack stand, so the jack stands failed because you hit the release. Well, that's not how this works. Assuming there's any real amount of weight, even if it's only 1,000 pounds, this tiny little lever. I mean, we'd have to do some math, but this tiny little lever, it would take so much force on this lever to move that 1,000 pounds. You're just not going to do it by kicking a stand. Now, even if you did accidentally kick the stand, there's one more fail-safe here. And you see this little pin right here, this roll pin that's pushed in? This bar travels through the pole, and this roll pin, if there's a lot of weight on this and you were to nail this lever, should shear this pin, yet again continuing to maintain the load on the anvil. And if you look on the new stand, same thing, shear pin. Okay? Now something I want you all to see is when I bent these tabs in, which a lot of people don't know about and they have to be told about it. Well, apparently US Jack likes to move around on the table a lot. You see right here, this tab that is meant to retain the anvil and keep it from falling out is also designed to reduce the amount of movement that this can have. And in this case, it can't really do that because the casting is so poor here. But you'll notice I bent this one in and it didn't remove the paint. And this stand is, geez, sorry guys. This stand is heavily used and it's missing a bunch of paint, right? Now, we go to this one. Look at what happened when I bent the pin in, the tab. You can see here that the paint fell off. So whatever coating process Harbor Freight was using on the old stand was actually higher quality than the coating process they use on the new stand. But your trade-off was the anvil was dangerous on this one and it's kind of not dangerous on this one anymore. So did we literally trade powder coating for garbage enamel paint to have a better anvil?
Well, I kind of wonder if all this happened, they panicked and had to make these and get them out as quickly as possible.
They did. And I think that's part of it, is that powder coating takes a long time. So something else I want you to notice, and this is very important, and we're going to compare this directly to the stand over here, is I want you to see right here, you see this seam? This is already very low quality steel, but what they've done here is to make this cheaper and easier to produce. This seam right here exists on both sides, and it is welded. Now you might ask yourself, is it welded on both sides? How well it's welded? Look at the chicken scratch. You see this? That is holding this together. And what was kind of astonishing, what I heard from a bunch of people, I am sweating a lot, it is all over the table. What I heard from a lot of people on the YouTube video is that they've literally seen these jack stands collapse in on themselves. So the physical metal here will collapse in on itself. And that doesn't surprise me from an engineering aspect, and you might ask why. Well, the stand is braced right here. It's got lots of strength here because this is a single piece and it's got a leg. But look what we did right here. Now you've got a V, which by nature, because there's no brace here, is going to want to separate or come in, most likely separate, and you've put a zipper in it. So now you've got a zipper for the jack stand under a lot of load, especially if it wasn't put together well or the steel's cheap, to fold open, right? This is a no-no. In the engineering world, this is a no-no. This is a failure point. You've literally given yourself a zipper for this to tear open.
So it's like they did the right thing here, and then they got over here, and they're like, forget
it's too expensive, so they bailed.
We ran out of material.
And the new stand does not fix this.
Design.
Right, so you've still got the seam. We've still got chicken scratch welds in here. And you've still got a place where it's unbraced across the bottom and it can split open and fail. Now, let's scoot these suckers over. And let's look at this. Even this 3-ton is doing it better. And let me explain to you why. You would look at this 3-ton and go, well, hey, JB, all they've got is some angle iron right here. And it's wide open on the sides. Yeah, okay. Well, wouldn't that make it much weaker than this? You see, that's the beauty of things like metallurgy and engineering of metals and the angles you use and the way you support things. how does a jack stand physically put weight down? The weight is transferred down to these bottom corners here, all four of them, fairly equally. And the force that is exerted on it moves in a downward direction, correct? So whenever the jack is being pushed on down, it's going to want to spread the legs out. But it can't, because you have this beautiful, very hard piece of steel rod going around the outside of it that is very heavily welded in, that keeps the legs from pulling out. But even more so, when more force is applied to one leg than the other, the energy of the pull is transferred to the opposite side. So this makes this extremely strong.
The weight seems to be distributed extremely equally here.
Correct.
Here is more narrow.
And something
So
you'll notice
it
here.
could topple over easier.
Well, correct. So something else, I was just about to say that. You'll notice that this is skinnier than this. So this stand is actually rectangular in shape. And this one is a perfect square with a very large flat square base. This stand is destined to fail in the manner of the zipper failure of the metal here where the weld is because of its shape. It's going to apply a lot of energy to these two sides, and it's unsupported, and it's going to want to spread out, and there's nothing there to stop it from doing that other than you're hoping who welded this holding it together. Whereas this is fully captured. It can't go anywhere. And as long as you're using a very high quality piece of steel, which this is American steel, so of course it is, it's always going to be stronger even in this case than is that. And the only reason why the Chinese stand has as much steel as you see here, as it's cheap, weak steel, and they need that much of it to make the stand stronger. In this case, US Jack has obviously gone with a higher quality steel in an attempt to keep the jack strong without being super heavy. Now again, this is a 3-ton versus a 6-ton, but these things are freaking heavy, right? I think part of it is also that the anvils are so substantial.
Just because it says Pittsburgh does not mean it's Pittsburgh steel.
Right. That's Harbor Freight's in-house brand. And I can't get past this pawl mechanism. I mean, look, right? Walking along, working on my automobile, rolling around under a truck, changing a transmission up on these stands. I bump the handle, she gone. Right? Look at how much this protrudes away from the body. Look at how much you have to hit here. It's unprotected. It hangs off the side of the stand. Something can easily, whoop, right?
She gone.
Now look at this. You can hit this, but you don't have all of this leverage force hanging off the side, let alone you don't have all of this outside, this tickshaw hanging off the side of it here. So you can't hit it here, you can't hit it here, you can't hit it here, you can only hit it here. And it's captured, right? So you can't physically run up it and then hang up on this. You have to hit the bottom of it, which was very wisely made round. So if something were to hit it, it wants to roll off the edge.
It can't hook and pull.
Sure.
Let's say you're walking with something like a rope or something. It's going to hook it here.
Correct.
And pull it up.
A shoelace can hook this. You know, any tool you're using, your leg, you can hit it here, you can hit it here, and you can hit it here from these directions, right? So it makes it a significantly more dangerous stand.
A lot more thought went into that, you can tell.
A lot. And that's a very wise way to put it, Mikey. A lot more thought went into the way that this mechanism was designed for safety. And probably one of the biggest takeaways I get from this is not only their attention to detail in the engineering of the stand down here for conservation of weight. That's a consideration. You carry these things around. But also this. This was designed to be harder to hit, but not only that, not one tooth like this has engaging the anvil, two are engaging the anvil. And because of that, because it doesn't need an upward motion to rock away, both teeth are jammed in and being pushed down on. It makes it extremely difficult to disengage this mechanism even when there's no weight on it. If you're just trying to pull it out, you're just trying to bump it up. I'm trying not to shake the camera, otherwise I'd hit it harder. If you're just trying to push up, you can't do this. You see me trying to move this. It does not work that way. The anvil must lift with it. You have to pull the anvil away before it'll come down, which means it will not drop a load ever, even if it's just the weight of the anvil. Just the weight of the anvil. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. I have to lift it first. This one, hashtag send it, right? That is your dead. I'm sorry, we'll have to bleep the, right? Even that one, ready?
Sorry, Texas boy. I apologize.
Ready? Dead.
Dead.
Ready? Not, it's still up right now. If I could swing the camera, it never fell. That might have been a little much, eh? I'm being dramatic on purpose. It never fell. It's still up. And this is what you want saving your life. Now, this, you getting text messages over here, bro?
I saw all the comments coming in. People are going crazy.
This device right here is a dirty, dirty sucker when it comes to metallurgy, okay? This is a plain old $1 file, metal file. And this plain old $1 metal file can tell us a lot about the materials that were used to build these anvils and these stands. All of these. Now, you may ask why. Well, anyone who watched one of my last videos showing me picking up the back of the truck would know that the hitch of the truck physically damaged this anvil significantly. It mushroomed and laid over this sharp edge really, really well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place the file on the end. I'm going to push really hard.
Try not to kill anybody.
Very hard. Very, very hard.
Carefully.
Carefully. And I'm going to make a full pull. All right, you see how much metal came off on that?
Yes.
And this one's got some paint, so let's at least knock the paint off of it, otherwise we're going to spoil this test. I'm trying to be scientitious here, as much as you could be. Okay. You would agree that all I've done is knock the paint off, right?
Hang on. I would agree.
Okay. So I'm again going to drag this very hard across the front of it. Now, what do you notice immediately between these two?
Misshapen, like it's taken off a layer of metal.
It did, but notice the difference between these two. You notice something immediately, even just between those two?
Immediately? This one looks bigger.
That one looks bigger. Mm-hmm. Right. So here's what's happened here, and I'd have to put this back on the hitch of the truck to see if it would mushroom this as much. But even though they've given you better teeth, I believe they might have actually cheaped out on the material that they used for the anvil.
Which wouldn't surprise me because they obviously cheaped out on the paint.
So I'm going to knock the paint off over here.
But like I said, I feel like they had to knock these out really quickly.
This paint they've got on here is intense. You're going to have to give me a second. Okay, this is a much harder metal, okay? This is very obviously a much harder metal. Watch. Look. Can you tell?
No.
No.
I mean,
no, right?
That could have been from you throwing it,
right.
actually.
So it's going to be very hard for y'all to tell on camera. I want you to see the amount of metal that's missing here. Don't mind my pajamas. The amount of metal that's missing here. Look at how much metal is now missing. These are both the Pittsburgh stands. Now let me get the US Jack in here. Look at where I cut the edge right here. Can you see that? I wouldn't be surprised if you said that you can't discern how much is missing here, because all it really did was knock the paint off and then take a burr off the edge of the metal.
And he put the equal amount of pressure in all of them.
I was pressing hard.
I mean, you can do it again if they don't believe you, but I'm telling you,
so
you put some pressure into it.
For one, of course, the Anvil is a higher quality. But I'm not going to stop there, Mikey. I'm going to knock the paint off.
You'll try.
Here we go again with this paint being pretty gangster. All right, so I've got the paint off, right? Do you agree?
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the very edge. That powder coating is pretty intense. Can you hold this still for me? Put your hands down on it. All right. That, like, just on this edge, right? Okay, now I'm curious. Let's see the finest quality of China. Let's make sure we don't have any paint right there. The paint's missing already. Not a surprise because, you know, China, and it's been used well. Can you hold this one as well? You hear the difference in the sound?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
it cut it a lot harder, and you can hear.
If you can look down it, it's not straight anymore. It dips down now.
I've got a hard angled cut in it, and it physically divots where I pushed on it with the file. I don't know if y'all can hear that in our shiny new microphone setup, just how big of a difference that actually made. We're going to need to turn this so that I can apply the same pressure.
Oh yeah, right-handed.
Right. Look at the rust. I didn't notice.
Oh
it
yeah,
before.
already.
The paint
brand
chipped
new
off of the Anvil, and it's rusting pretty significantly underneath there.
Wow.
I've used this once.
Give that thing like 2-3 years.
It'll be destroyed, yeah. So the paint just disappeared. Like, it's gone. All right, you ready? Hold this thing down. Hear the sound? Look at how much metal just came off. Wow.
Look, if you can see, it's engulfed in your sweat, but
right,
there's dust on the.
There's metal filings all over. A physical coil of metal came off of the file as we were doing that. I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera, but we're going to try anyways. Here's the cut on this one. Oops. Here's the cut on this one. And here's the cut on this one. Can you see that? And I even cut all the way to the edge here where it would apply more pressure. And I think it lost more powder coating than it did metal.
Wow.
Sorry guys, didn't shake the table.
I have a feeling this right here would not even budge. That's nothing.
All right.
I mean, my floor is made of cardboard, so remember that.
So let's talk about it. There's metal shavings all over US Jack's rack now. Good job, Harbor Freight. I hope seeing this is enough for y'all to look at it and go, wow, that is obviously a very much a better stand, right? We're going to try to prove this. We're going to try to upset these stands. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it yet. We may even try to overload these stands and see if we can force failures out of the Harbor Freights in these stands. Hopefully, I'm hoping to do it with the 3 tons for 2 reasons. I'm expecting to see these 3 tons live longer than the 6 tons in a failure test, for one, okay? And even if they come anywhere near the 6 tons, it is half the rated weight, right? And then for 2, we have 6 tons coming in for us to use around the shop from US Jack, and I don't want to destroy those unless Brad wants to send us some more to destroy those. We'll have to see how it goes on camera trying to destroy the 6 tons versus the 3 tons. But I have a lot of faith that the US Jack stands will hang right in there with the 6 tons and even beat them in failure testing. What do you think?
I think you're right.
They are.
Because the design is so much better. Even like this, you notice how this is completely enclosed? And the other ones, the pins look like they could be
It's all exposed.
removed.
Right. In this case, there's no need for a shear pin because you cannot physically manipulate the mechanism in a way to drop the load that a shear pin is necessary. So that's a failure point for longevity that you just don't have with these stands. They're built very well. So look, okay, guys, look, don't hit us with the you're shill because they sent you product.
I mean, you can't deny it's better material, better design.
They're better equipment.
Better equipment, yeah.
They're better equipment, and we're going to do our best to prove that to you on camera. We don't want to take up any more of your valuable, precious time. I haven't seen this video yet, obviously, so hopefully we didn't shake the camera too much. If we did, I'm sorry. But you only have until August 1st to use the coupon code MLG15OFF to get 15% off your order of $25 or more. Please go use that. Please get you some of these jack stands. Any money you spend will help support us and an American-made company that is veteran-owned. Very important. Oh, and they were founded or opened in 1988, not 1998.
You're always 10 years off.
Yeah. Some guy on the last video caught that, and I was astounded by it. But anyways, thank y'all very much for watching. We really appreciate it. I know this is a little different for TRC. I know we look disgusting and sweaty.
I mean, we're men doing men stuff.
Maybe we should be disgusting and sweating. That makes this more meaningful to people. Maybe we'll try to get in the air conditioning or get an air conditioner in here before the next video because that would be pretty freaking fantastic.
So visit usjack.com. Click on the store on the bottom right-hand side. Mm-hmm. You can buy whatever you want. Then when you go to checkout, down at the bottom, you'll have a section for the coupon code. and you use MLG15 off. If you can't remember all that, just go to murphyslawgarage.com. The very first post on the very top is going to have a direct link to the store where you can click, start shopping immediately.
It will, and we're going to flash up the coupon code here at some point in the video, so you will have seen that and be able to pause it and see it. Anyways, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate US Jack giving us the opportunity to show you these beautifully made products. I've been drooling over just the pictures and tech specs of it and wanting to physically see this double pawl mechanism for myself, because it seemed like it was a much smarter design, and I was right. And US Jack was right. This is the right way to build a ratcheting stand.
Yeah, I see why the U.S. military goes for it.
All right. I mean, obviously this was built with actual safety in mind.
Yeah.
So, anyways, buy America, guys. Have a nice one.
Follow you back on Twitter. Cool, huh? Getting them Twitter fans up in here. And people love the Twitter.
They sure do.
They just don't know about us yet. I'm gonna put my phone here. I'm gonna forget it. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Table.
Because we're not plugged in, so I don't know if that caused a problem.
Well, at least it's very vibrantly dang.
Glad we're not live right now,
Oh yeah.
because this would be very awkward. I'd have to find a way to.
Camera, Mikey.
I'd have to find a way to entertain the people.
How do you just make silly faces?
I mean, I don't know. I could break stuff. Wow. I mean, that's pretty hefty too.
Hefty units.
That's what she said. Okay, that one's heavier.
Oh jeez.
Hey, calm down.
I'm sorry, the people.